Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had an awesome weekend. It was so hot this weekend. So, me not being pregnant, I got totally overheated both Saturday and Sunday when I was exercising. So hopefully you guys are drinking enough water. Pregnant mamas, remember you should be getting about 100 ounces of water in a day. And make sure you're getting some electrolytes in there because, we do live in the desert. So you have to hydrate. We don't want any preterm labors. We want to make sure that you guys keep those babies in full term. So hydration is really, really, really critical as we get into these hot months. Speaking of nutrition and hydration, hydration is critical. But we're also going to talk today about nutrition after the baby's born. A question came up that was posed to me about mom's nutrition and how does it affect breastfeeding. So the question was quite complex, actually. So the gist of the question was, first of all, if you can't provide breast milk for your baby, or you choose not to provide breast milk for your baby, what is the best way to feed your baby if you're not giving the baby breast milk? So someone asked me about different formulas, making their own formula. So of course we always defer to pediatricians when it comes to something like your infant's and your baby's nutrition. But as a lactation consultant, we do get asked this question quite a bit. And you can make your own formula. There is a recipe out there. The Weston A. Price website has a recipe that's made with goat milk and a variety of other ingredients. But we do always say if you choose to make your own formula, do double check that with your pediatrician to make sure that they agree with it, that they're on board with it, that they believe it's getting all the things that you need to have in it to make sure your baby is getting all the nutrients it needs. There are some, of course, over-the-counter formulas out there that you can buy at the grocery store. And that's really a personal choice when it comes to that. I can't really endorse one or the other. We do have several family members that do make their own formula, and their pediatricians have been okay with it. So it's, we seem to think it's pretty good, but again, my big disclaimer there is always double check it with your pediatrician. But the Weston A. Price website will give you a really good recipe for that. And if you go onto our business page or you can email me privately, and I could put you in touch with some of our mamas that are already making their own formula, and then maybe you can have a discussion with them about how it's been working. Part of that question was also, does the mother's nutrition affect her breast milk? So it does to a degree, right? We want healthy women. We want a variety of food in our diets. We want good fat in our diets. But what we have to remember is we are living in a developed country, so we have access to food. So our mothers in our demographic are not malnourished. That's the bigger issue. So remember, I do work in developing countries, and those women are very malnourished, yet they are still able to produce breast milk. So we don't really see an issue of malnutrition, perhaps not a very varied diet, but for the most part, women in our country that are choosing to breastfeed are eating a fairly good diet. So it's not a direct correlation. So if you didn't eat your green vegetables today, it doesn't mean your breast milk is bad. And never, unless, I should never say never, rarely does a mother's diet, even if it's a really poor diet and she feels like she's not getting adequate nutrition, rarely is another way to feed the baby better than breast milk. So we know that breast milk is the best thing for your baby. We also understand that sometimes that is not possible, and we respect those choices, and we know that sometimes formula or donor breast milk or I guess those are really your only two options, aren't they? Formula or donor breast milk. Sometimes those are really important ways to feed your baby. The bottom line is we have to feed a baby, but rarely will your diet indicate that you should not breastfeed your baby unless you have to take a specific prescription medicine that is contraindicated during breastfeeding. And if you have a question about prescription medicines and the effects on your breast milk, always call the office, email the question. There are great resources out there so we can look up that particular medication and see how it affects your breast milk. But rarely are there things out there that prohibit you from breastfeeding. So unless you're under the influence of, you're abusing recreational drugs, you're abusing alcohol at a high level, you are on some prescription medications that are contraindicated, unless those are your situations, you have a good, healthy diet and you should breastfeed your baby if you can, right? So that was a big question. So one of our mamas, several of our mothers actually, have had what's called hyperemesis, which is vomiting throughout their whole pregnancy. It is a drag, and it's just awful. And some of those mamas that we have to be on some medications to control the hyperemesis because they just can't keep anything down. And then their concern is, how is this going to pan out? I can get this baby to full term. They have great healthy babies. Usually it's gone by the time the baby's born. That's really the cure for hyperemesis. But some of the concerns are, my nutrition was so bad during my pregnancy, is my breast milk still going to be okay? And yes, it is still going to be okay. There are certain reasons why people might have hyperemesis in their pregnancy. And we never really know. It's such a broad topic, and there's so many things that we don't really know about hyperemesis, but we do know that it could be related to some gut flora issues. It could be related to a bacteria called H. pylori, which can be tested for. It can be just a hormonal response to your pregnancy, and there's no solution to it. It could be because you're not eating enough, or you're not drinking enough water, you're not staying hydrated, which can proliferate this hyperemesis situation. But we do know that regardless of that throughout the pregnancy, once the baby's born, that is the solution, and your body will make breast milk, and that breast milk is really nutritious for your baby. I think that answers the questions that have come in about nutrition. I would be mindful, if you're going to be doing any kind of formula, that you're getting something that's organic. You know that it's well sourced. There's the debate of whether you do a whey protein or a soy protein, and I think that's going to be a personal choice depending on how your baby tolerates the formula. We always generally try to go with a whey protein first. Excuse me, I think babies, I always forget the name of it, it's like Babies First, I think, is one of the formulas that we see most common. I think it's an organic formula. You can get it at most of the grocery stores around. There's also this really fancy one from Germany. I think it's quite expensive, but some people do order it in from there. And so sometimes you have to give your baby something other than your own breast milk. Do consider donor breast milk. We think it's a great choice, especially if you know the source, as long as you know that milk is safe. We know that the mother that's donating that breast milk doesn't have any diseases that are contraindicated. So be mindful of where you're getting your donor milk if you're doing something like that. Make sure that person has been tested and doesn't have any bloodborne illnesses, anything that can affect the breast milk, right? Of course, that's always very important. But mostly, we just want you to eat a well-rounded diet. Don't be so hard on yourself, and try not to think so tunnel vision. Know that you have access to good food here in the United States, even if your resources are limited. As long as you can get some fat in your diet, you're getting protein in your diet, and you're hydrating, you're going to be doing just fine. And in our community, we are serving women that have access to those things. We're very fortunate in our community that's most of our mothers. So, there you go. That's my little tidbit on nutrition. So it doesn't always correlate with mother's poor nutrition means that this breast milk isn't adequate and that formula would be better. That is not how we think about breast milk. We know that your milk is perfect for your baby at your baby's age, even if you feel like you're not filling your body up with the best food or taking a multivitamin. You can get most of your nutrients from your food. We do recommend supplementing with vitamin D3. If you can supplement with some omegas, that's really great. It's really good for neurological development. But if you can eat some avocados, you can eat some coconut. You eat nuts and seeds. Those are really, really great foods for your body and great foods for your baby via your breast milk. I hope that's been helpful, you guys. I hope you do everything in moderation. That's really, really important. And if you have any specific questions, of course, you can always call the office. You can go to our website. You can email us directly. You can contact us via our business page. And of course, you're always welcome to any of our moms groups that we do here. We have a group on Monday, we have a group on Wednesday, we have La Leche League. The Holistic Moms Network meets here once a month. That's another really, really good resource for some of our mamas. And La Leche League, of course, is always a really good resource. And any questions, just give us a call or email us. And thanks again for listening on Midwife Monday. I think it's awesome that you guys tune in and you listen. And I hope it's helpful. And go out and enjoy your day. Wear sunscreen, drink water, and try not to get overheated. Okay, see y'all next week.